got a busy show here on Dallas Mavericks today. We'll get you caught up on the clinching scenarios as Dallas looks to lock in a top 6 seed in the Western Conference. We have a Josh Green injury update as well, and can Luka Doncic still win the MVP?
Seal the deal, baby.
We take a look at that. Also, Harrison Graham, Jeffrey Cooperstein. But hey, let's get that dub tonight. If you want the Mavs to beat the Hornets and that fraud Grant Williams, hit that like button, like this video, and let's get one game closer to clinching a top 6 seed. Okay, Coop. Speaking of which, the magic number is 2.
Yes.
So if the Mavericks win tonight and the Suns lose to the Clippers or the Pelicans lose to the Trailblazers, hello avoiding the play-in tournament. So they could be popping bottles in Miami by the time the night is over, which they might be doing that regardless.
Yes, they certainly could be. And just take care of business tonight against the Hornets and then let the chips fall where they may. They can also clinch a top 5 seed tonight if both the Pelicans and the Suns lose. So they could end up having top 5, avoiding top 6 altogether.
Yeah, I mean, probably a long shot for the Pelicans to lose to Portland. But, yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about this yesterday, Coop. If you win tonight, chaos has to ensue to be in the play-in tournament.
Certainly.
Because then the magic number is 1, and that's just a combination of winning one more game or one of the Suns or Pelicans losing one game. So you beat the lowly Hornets tonight, who probably don't even want to win. I guess Grant Williams probably will, but the organization probably doesn't. And then I think you're probably going to rest some guys tomorrow in Miami. Now, if you're trying to get the 4 seed, sure, but you don't have the tiebreaker over the Clippers, so you basically have to make up 3 games, even though you're only 2 games back with 4 to go. I'm not that, hell-bent on that. Sure, if you get to the OKC game and there's a chance, then yeah, you play it out. But, I don't think the slight chance of getting a top 4, convinces me to play guys in Miami tomorrow. I think the day off is probably more valuable. So, we'll see how they approach it. But this is what the Clippers have remaining as we kind of go through some of these schedules.
Yeah, they have a home-and-home against the Suns, and then they finish with the Jazz and the Rockets. So I assume they're going to go 2-2 here, which would put the Mavs at the 5 seed. That's why if I'm the Mavs, I take care of business tonight in Charlotte. I'm not playing Luka or Kyrie in Miami. I'm letting Jaden Hardy get his run. I'm letting Omax Prosper get in that rotation as well. I just think the value of rest versus getting the 4 seed as opposed to the 5 seed is more important.
Well, and especially since it's just such a long shot. I mean, if they lose both to Phoenix, that piques my interest a little bit.
Yeah.
But even then, I mean, are they going to lose to the Jazz or Rockets at home? I guess, Houston's dangerous. We've seen that. But Utah's fallen off a cliff. They're not motivated to win at this point. So them going 1-3 or 0-4 seems very, very unlikely. Call your shot. What seed will the Mavericks finish with in the West? 4, 5, or 6? 5 is the most likely.
Yeah.
I think that's where it goes, Coop. If you win tonight, you're very, very close to doing that. So I'm going to go ahead and type 5.
Yeah, I'm going to say 5 as well, and I think the Clippers will end up with the 4 seed, which brings me to my next point that I wanted to make. Kawhi Leonard is injured and will miss his 5th consecutive game tonight due to right knee inflammation. Now, I don't know whether this is just rest or if he's actually hurt and it's Kawhi, so who knows, but it's definitely something to monitor as we go down the stretch here because this is the most likely opponent in the first round for the Mavericks.
I mean, that's kind of the whole thing with Kawhi. You never really know what's going on. I mean, he is very mysterious. His camp, they do things differently.
And he has been healthy all season for the most part.
I mean, he's played in 68 games, and if he's missed his 5th straight, let's just say he was playing all these, he'd have played 73 of 78 games.
Yep.
I mean, he's played most of this year. Has had a good year, efficient year. I mean, look, at minimum, this is something to monitor.
Exactly.
At maximum, maybe he misses time or is at least hampered in the first round. Now, obviously, if you're Dallas, you're just going to approach this as you fully expect everybody to be throttled. But, I mean, time will tell. I mean, clock's ticking here. We'll see.
Something to monitor.
Now, you could view this, Coop, as they're kind of locked into the 4.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like, well, if he's 90%, why not just rest him and get him 100%? Because getting into the top 3 is unlikely for them at this point. Falling behind Dallas would be a collapse of sorts of which we just outlined. So maybe they're just playing this very conservatively. But to our point, we're going to be keeping an eye on this because Kawhi's health has a huge factor on how the first round could play out for Dallas.
Yeah, if Kawhi is out, I think the Mavs win that series in 4 or 5 games. I honestly do. He's having a great season, man. We showed you the stats earlier. When he plays, he is still a very, very good basketball player, and we've seen what he can do against the Mavs in the postseason before. So it's definitely something to monitor, and we'll keep you guys up to date if the Mavs do indeed play the Clippers in the first round. So be sure to hit that sub button, and we'll keep you guys up to date.
We'll get you caught up on some Josh Green injury news here in just a moment. But today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. I cannot encourage you guys enough to download the Prize Picks app. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use code CLNS. Harrison, why should I download it? Well, it's daily fantasy sports. It's different every single day. You can trot out different lineups for different sports, the NBA, NHL. You've got MLB action underway as well. And listen, the playoffs are almost here. This is the time to get downloaded, test it out for these final few games, and then figure out kind of what you like. If you want to do points, if you want to do rebounds, combo stats, points, rebounds, assists, or different sports with hockey and goals and runs and home runs and stuff like that. Prize Picks just sets more or less stat projections, and you take them more or less, and sometimes they give you little deals as well. P.J. Washington, we're going to go more than 21.5 points, rebounds, assists. He's been doing a little bit of everything recently. Luka Doncic, what is that, 45.5 points, rebounds, and assists. We'll
Taco Tuesday deal.
More there as well. Taco Tuesday deal every Tuesday. Shout out LeBron. He's a big Taco Tuesday guy. And then Rope Hintz, what is this, half a point tonight, Coop? That, by the way, that little green logo down there next to the 0.5, that is called a goblin. They kind of lower the stat projection, and it's easier for you to hit. So it kind of lowers like the bang for your buck, but it gives you a higher percentage chance of hitting and cashing out. They've got opposite of that too, demon picks, which are tougher to hit, but if you do, you can really make big money. You can make up to 100 times your money if you have a certain amount of demons in your selection. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. It's very easy to use. 2 to 6 player entries. Takes less than 90 seconds to download the app. Less than 60 seconds to make your picks. Get that $100 deposit match at PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Code CLNS. Link is in the comments and description. All right, Coop. Let's talk Josh Green, who you almost forget he's on this team sometimes because how well they've been playing right now. He's been upgraded to doubtful for tonight, which doesn't mean he's going to play tonight. But look, maybe he has a slight chance if they go load management tomorrow, playing a few minutes against Miami on Wednesday. So we'll keep an eye on that. But certainly a positive trend to at least have him available for the playoffs here in 10 days or so.
Yeah, and I think the Mavs would like to find a way to work Josh Green into this rotation because he does give him that defensive ability at the wing position, and you can never have enough of those. And he was playing really good ball before he got injured as well. So I think the Mavs want him healthy, and they want him in this rotation. But we were kind of talking, it's where does he really fit here? I mean, you're going to have Luka and Kyrie playing 40 minutes, so that occupies the guard spot. Tim Hardaway Jr. is going to play, whether you like it or not. And then you have Washington and Jones, who are going to be your primary 3 and 4.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at his career progression, he's certainly playing like a guy worthy of a playoff rotation spot. He's been efficient. I think at times this year his defense hasn't been peak Josh Green, but he's been a little better offensively at times. So it's been a bit of a trade-off, although he's still a good defender. I think you do want to get him some run down the stretch here. Then Jason Kidd can kind of determine, A, is he in the rotation for the playoffs? B, how big is that role? Now, I don't see any scenario where he's a starter on this team.
No, I don't either. And that's a tune change for me because I thought before he got hurt, he was a locked-in starter here in this postseason run.
I don't think you can mess with what you got rolling now with Jones and Washington.
Yeah,
and then
you keep it with those guys.
And then obviously Gafford in the middle. We'll see. Like, is there a scenario where he phases Tim Hardaway out of the rotation? I doubt it. I still think even though Tim hasn't been very efficient for a few months now, they still value his scoring ability, even though it hasn't been really there for a couple months. Because Josh Green, I don't think they view as a guy that could give you 20 in a playoff game. Whereas Tim could still do that from time to time. I'm fascinated to see what Jason Kidd does here. This is kind of another step in his, improved, I would say, rotation handling this year of how do you view a guy that was a starter at one point and now you've won 14 to 16 and he's been gone for that chunk for the most part.
Yeah, like you said, I don't see a scenario where they phase Tim Hardaway Jr. out. I just think that Jason Kidd still values him regardless. And I think with Tim is if he's not playing, I'm not sure he's going to mentally be there, so you have to give him those few minutes to at least make sure he's engaged and he's still being a good teammate. And that's something that Jason Kidd has to manage as well.
Maybe you chop 5 to 7 minutes from Jones and Tim, and that's Josh's minutes.
And
that's 12 minutes
be
for Josh Green. I mean, I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see. Now, there's nothing new on Derek Lively as we shift gears here. I doubt he'll play the rest of the way.
Yeah,
Maybe he plays the finale against OKC for a few minutes if he's cleared, but I think if we're being honest, he's probably not returning until the playoffs, which I think that's okay. He's played enough this year where I don't think it would be some drastic concern if we don't see him until the playoffs, especially now that Gafford has kind of established himself as the starter.
Yeah, I don't expect to see him in that OKC game or for the rest of the regular season. It would be just over 3 weeks from the last time he played when game 1 would be, so I think you want to give him that full rest time. Make sure he's at full health and ready to go for this postseason because they will rely on Derek Lively here to play because he's been fantastic in his rookie season and he's a perfect complement to Daniel Gafford.
Yeah, and you know, they could ease him in a little bit. You've got Kleba, who you and I don't love, but at least like he can give you some decent minutes at least if you don't, you know, if he's not full throttle for game 1 for whatever reason. But yeah, I think that's kind of where that sits right now. We're so close to 26,000 subscribers. I would love to wake up to 26K tomorrow, or at least get there by the playoffs. Come on. 83 subs away. Let's make it happen. Coop and I got you covered the rest of the way until the postseason and throughout, hopefully a long playoff run. So sub for Mavericks dubs. Let's make it happen. All right, Coop, let's talk MVP here. Where does Luka sit with a few games to go? Well, a lot of MVP odds have him as the second favorite now. Have him leapfrogging Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Now, it still feels like a long shot. Nikola Jokic is the heavy favorite pretty much across the board via different sports books. I don't know what's going to change because it's not like Luka and the Mavs have like these crazy high-profile games left because they're kind of close to being locked in. You know, Luka is probably going to sit tomorrow if they win tonight. Probably sit against OKC. Like, is the game against Charlotte and Detroit going to change anything? I think he's locked into being a finalist, which I think for the first time, technically,
it would be the first time, yes.
A finalist, so that's cool. I think he should get some love to win it. I know you agree. I certainly understand why Jokic would win it, but it looks like he's going to finish either second or third this year.
Yeah, and we were so close to predicting it before the start of the season. We said this was going to be his MVP year.
I mean, if you told us these were the numbers he had, 34, 9, and 10 with almost 50% and a career high from 3, and he'd be a big reason why the Mavs improved their win total by, I don't know, a dozen games. Like, I think it'd be like, yeah, that's a pretty strong argument. But
no question.
These years, Jokic just keeps putting together, and you pair that with the fact they might be the number 1 seed in the West. You certainly get it. I could see both arguments for Luka and Jokic. I do think they're the only two that should be in the discussion.
Yeah, I don't think Shai should be in the discussion.
I think Shai should be a finalist, but I think he is a fairly distant third at this point. But yeah, it's you know, no harm in finishing runner-up to Nikola Jokic. But I just don't think there's really anything in front of the Mavs and Luka that can like drastically change something.
Yeah,
like, is Jokic gonna average 3 points per game the rest of the way?
The votes are in, kind of, more or less. It's an election where you have 95% of the votes in it, and Jokic has a big lead. So I think it's going to be Jokic, but a great year from Luka nonetheless.
Yeah, we think he should win. He's our MVP. Let us know what you think. Type Y for yes. Type in for no. The good news for Luka and the Mavs is they got bigger fish to fry. They're trying to lock in this playoff spot and go on a run. And, hey, if you can't win regular season MVP, who says finals MVP is on the
Let's go, baby. Go win that finals MVP.
See if it can happen. He's Jeffrey Cooper.
Beat Charlotte.
I am Harrison Graham. Let's knock off the Hornets tonight, and hey, go party in Miami.